All right, guys, let's continue on with our study of the 13 colonies. We are moving on from Massachusetts. Remember, we talked about how the Massachusetts Bay Colony was exploding in population through the Great Migration as the Puritans came from England into the New World. And so the Massachusetts Bay Colony, because it was becoming larger and larger, they moved on into Connecticut and New Hampshire. And now we're going to learn about another colony that was uh, formed by people who had once lived in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Remember the Massachusetts Bay Colony? It was formed by Puritans, and they were very, very strict in their religious beliefs. If you did not believe as they did, you had no religious freedom. Everybody that lived in the Massachusetts Bay Colony had to go to the Puritan church on Sundays, to the meeting house of the Puritan church. They had to sit through those services. They had to pay taxes to support the Puritan ministers, whether or not they were part of the congregation. In addition, only men who were church members were allowed to hold any land. So they were very, very strict. And because of some of these regulations, there were other settlers that moved in there that didn't agree with those restrictions. And so that is how New Colony was formed. All right, we're going to be in chapter 13 in our book. It's called The Story of Rhode Island. Roger Williams was born in London, England. As a boy, he learned to write in a special way called shorthand. When he went to church, he used shorthand to write down what the minister said. Roger's shorthand notes helped him to study the Bible. Shorthand is a system of abbreviations and symbols and marks that are used to allow you to write faster. Most of us who have taken notes, who have been through college, have developed our own sort of shorthand so that we can read our notes. Now, other people may not be able to read them, but we know exactly what we say in our notes. I have my own shorthand that I use, and I try not to do it in my notes when I'm writing notes for you guys because you don't know what it means. So I try to actually write it out for you. When Roger grew up, he went to Cambridge University, which is one of England's famous colleges. During his time at Cambridge, he became a Puritan and eventually he became a minister. Roger Williams knew that the king did not like Puritans because they disagreed with the Church of England. Roger Williams worked as a minister in the household of a Puritan who was a member of Parliament. Now, a household is a house and all of the people who live in it, related or not related. There, he met Puritans who wanted to leave England and live in North America. Roger Williams decided to join the Puritans in Massachusetts. He wanted to be free of the king and the church leaders in England. However, as you have discovered, the Puritans who traveled to Massachusetts were not separatists like the Pilgrims in Plymouth. The Puritans wanted to change the Church of England by example. In 1631, Roger Williams sailed to Boston, Massachusetts. Governor John Winthrop offered him a job as a minister to Boston's Puritan congregation. Roger Williams now disagreed with his fellow Puritans, and he believed that it was time to leave the Church of England, so he became more of a separatist. Williams told Governor Winthrop that he could not take that job. Roger Williams found other work as a minister, first in Plymouth and then in Salem. He spoke out against forcing people to pay taxes to support Puritan congregations. He feared that close ties with the government were harming the church, and he also thought that the Puritans were not strict enough in their religious beliefs. The Puritan leaders became angry with Roger Williams. Roger Williams also believed that the king had no right to take land from the Native Americans. Williams said the colonists should have to pay the Native Americans for any land that they wished to have. Williams became friends with a group of Native Americans. He knew many languages, including Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, and he learned their language too. Williams earned the respect of the Native Americans. The Puritans decided to send Roger Williams back to England. It was almost winter and he was sick. So Governor Winthrop said that Williams could wait and return to England in the spring. But Williams did not wish to return to England. Instead, he escaped from Massachusetts and went to what is now Rhode Island. There, he spent the winter with his Native American friends, the Wampanoag. In the spring, some of William's Puritan friends came to help him. He built a house and he planted crops. Williams bought the land from the Narragansett Native Americans. With his Puritan friends, Roger Williams started a town on that land, and he called the town Providence. It was the first town in the colony that would eventually be called Rhode Island. The town of Providence was ruled by the people, not by members of the religious congregation. People had religious freedom. They were not punished for their beliefs, even if Williams disagreed with them. Unlike in Massachusetts, the people living in Rhode Island were not forced to pay taxes to support the Puritan congregation. In fact, no taxes were paid to any religious group. People of different religions who settled in Providence were responsible for supporting themselves. Little by little, more towns were set up near Providence. Like Roger Williams, another famous Puritan moved from Massachusetts to Rhode Island. She was a very brave woman named Anne Hutchinson. Anne Hutchinson always spoke her mind. She read the Bible very carefully and she believed that God inspired her directly. She said that she did not need the Puritan ministers telling her what to believe. Like Roger Williams, Anne did not believe that the Puritans were strict enough in their beliefs. The Puritans did not like having people challenge their religious beliefs, especially a woman. Like Roger Williams, Anne Winthrop soon got into trouble with Anne Hutchinson, soon got into trouble with Governor Winthrop and the other Puritan leaders. When the Puritan leaders ordered her and her family to leave Massachusetts, her friends helped her start the new town of Plymouth. Road, I mean, sorry, I'm going to reread that whole paragraph because I really messed it up. Like Roger Williams, Anne Hutchinson soon got into trouble with Governor Winthrop and other Puritan leaders. When the Puritan leaders ordered her and her family to leave Massachusetts, her friends helped her start the new town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island. As the number of towns in Rhode Island grew, the people wanted to have their own official colony. Roger Williams traveled to England to ask the king for a charter for the colony. Williams still had friends in Parliament, and they helped him get the charter. People in Rhode Island had more religious freedom than in any other colony. Most of them liked Roger Williams. He was eventually elected president of the colony. Williams worked for the rest of his life to make Rhode Island a good place to live. He worked to keep peace with the Native Americans, and he treated everyone with kindness and respect. Roger Williams' ideas about separating religion from government can still be found in our laws today. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we remember anything that I just butchered while I was reading it. What did Roger Williams come to believe as a minister in the Massachusetts Bay Colony? Well, he spoke out against the taxes being paid to support the Puritan congregation. And also, he spoke out against the close ties between the government and the church. He did not believe that there should be close ties. He thought that Puritans were not strict enough with their beliefs and they were not following the Bible closely enough, and that the colonists should pay the Native Americans for the land that they used, the land that they took. What did the Puritan leaders in Massachusetts Bay Colony decide about Roger Williams? They decided he was going back to England. How did Roger Williams and the Native Americans show that they liked each other? Well, one of the ways that Roger Williams showed respect to the Native Americans is he learned to speak their language, and he spoke out against taking the land from them. And the Native Americans showed their respect for him and that they liked him because they took care of him when he escaped from Massachusetts. Do you remember what was the name of the first town that was started in Rhode Island by Roger Williams and his followers? That first town was called Providence, Rhode Island, and it still is there today. How was Anne Hutchinson and Roger Williams? How were Anne Hutchinson and Roger Williams alike, and how were they different? Some of the ways that they were alike is that they both spoke up for their beliefs, which angered the Puritan leaders. They both believed that the Puritans were not strict enough in their religious beliefs. Roger Williams started the town of Providence in Rhode Island, whereas Anne Hutchinson and her friends started the town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island. What do you think was the main reason Roger Williams disagreed with his fellow Puritans? Well, there were several, but one of them, the main reason was that he did not think that non Puritans should have to pay taxes to support the Puritan congregation. He believed that the Puritans should separate themselves from the Church of England and that they should become much stricter in their beliefs. And he also believed that the Native Americans should be treated fairly. All right, let's go ahead and add some notes to our interactive notebook. Where's my pen? There it is. Let's go ahead and put your heading on your paper, which is your name. Today's date is 5/7/21, and the lesson is chapter 13. Okay, our first heading is Rhode Island. And our first bullet point under Rhode Island, founded in 1636 by Roger Williams. Say it. Founded in 1636 by Roger Williams. Say it. Founded in 1636 by Roger Williams. Say it as you're writing it down. Founded in 1636 by Roger Williams. Second bullet point, Providence, first town. Say it. Providence, first town. Say it. Providence, first town. Say it as you're writing it down. Providence is spelled Prov, dense, just like it sounds. But we're going to use ks to make the sound. And that was the first town. First English colony to allow religious freedom. Say it. First English colony to allow religious freedom. Say it. First English colony to allow religious freedom. Say it as you're writing it down. First English colony to allow religious freedom. Ruled by the people, not the church. Say it. Ruled by the people, not the church. Say it. Ruled by the people, not the church. Say it as you're writing it down. Ruled by the people, comma, not the church. And the final bullet point under Rhode Island, purchased from Native Americans. Say it. Purchased from Native Americans. Say it. Purchased from Native Americans. Say it as you're writing it down. Purchased from Native Americans. And I'm abbreviating that as NA. Okay, our next heading is Roger Williams. Roger Williams. Okay, first bullet point under his name. Disagreed with Puritans in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Say it. Disagreed with Puritans in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Say it. Disagreed with the Puritans in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Say it as you're writing it down. Disagreed with Puritans in, and I'm going to abbreviate Massachusetts Bay Colony as a uppercase M, uppercase B, uppercase C. Second bullet point. Escaped from Massachusetts Bay Colony to Rhode Island. Say it. Escaped from Massachusetts Bay Colony to Rhode Island. Say it. Escaped from Massachusetts Bay Colony to Rhode Island. Say it as you're writing it down. Escaped from MBC to Rhode Island. Okay, next bullet point. Friends with Native Americans. Say it. Friends with Native Americans. Say it. Friends with Native Americans. Say it as you write it down. Friends with Native Americans. And again, I'm going to abbreviate that, NA. Okay, our next heading is Anne Hutchinson, and Anne's name is spelled with an E at the end, A-N-N-E. Hutch, we're going to use ch, three-letter ch. In, son, Hutchinson, Anne Hutchinson. Spoke out against Puritan leaders in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Say it. Spoke out against Puritans in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Say it. Spoke out against Puritans in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Say it as you're writing it down. Spoke out against Puritans in MBC, just like Roger Williams. She was put on trial for being a dissenter and banished from MBC. Say it. Put on trial for being a dissenter and banished from MBC. Say it. Put on trial for being a dissenter and banished from MBC. Say it as you write it down. Put on trial for being a dissenter, and dissenter is spelled dissenter, and banished. And we know what that means. Told to leave and to never come back, banished from Massachusetts Bay Colony, or MBC. And our last bullet point, started Portsmouth in 1638. Say it. Started Portsmouth in 1638. Say it. Started Portsmouth in 1638. Started, and this is spelled differently than it sounds. Portsmouth is the way that it's spelled. Portsmouth in 1638. Portsmouth. All right, we have a couple definitions. The first one is household, and that's a compound word, household. A house and all the people who live in it. Say it. A house and all the people who live in it. Say it. A house and all the people who live in it. Say it as you're writing it down. A house and all the people who live in it. All right, and then our second definition is dissenter. And again, it's spelled dissent, the of her, dissenter. One who refuses or disagree with the doctrines of an established religion. Say it. One who refuses or disagrees with the doctrines of an established religion. Say it. One who refuses or disagrees with the doctrines of an established religion. Say it as you're writing it down. One who refuses, and then in parentheses, I'm going to put or disagrees with, or disagrees with, then I'm going to end my parentheses, the doctrines, and that's spelled doc with k-s, doctrines, doctrines is how it's spelled, doctrines of an established religion. Established, religion, religion. Okay, those are the notes that we have. We are also going to do our map, but first I'm going to show you the notes. If you need to pause the video here to make sure you have all those notes, go ahead and do that. Now we're going to get out the map of Rhode Island. We're going to label it. This is your map of Rhode Island. I'm going to go grab my marker so I can color my water. And then we're going to cut it out and glue it in our interactive notebooks. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to color my water. This and up through here is water. I'm going to color it really quick so that you can see what I'm talking about. I want to make sure that we know what is land and what is water. I'm not going to color the entire Atlantic Ocean there because there's really no point in me doing that. But there is a lot of water around Rhode Island. Hence the name Rhode Island. Okay. This is the water part here, and then all of this at the bottom. Now, clearly not that island. That's all water. And that it's important that you have that particular stuff colored because we are going to mark on our map, we are going to mark the Providence River. And this big chunk of thing, that big chunk of water leads right into the Providence River. And so that's why I want you to have that marked. If you need to pause the video while you go ahead and get out your blue crayon and you mark that water, go right ahead and do that. That's all I'm going to mark on mine. Because the important part is the part up there around the state itself. I mean, the colony itself. Now, the first thing we're going to put on here is Providence. Providence is the capital of Rhode Island, and that's also the first colony where Roger Williams put it. Providence is right, let me see if I can get it on the map. Where's that bump? Right, there's like a little square that sticks out right here of this river. That top square, that's where your star, the capital, is. Providence is currently the capital of Rhode Island, but that is also the first colony. Providence. And then we're also going to mark on our map Portsmouth. Portsmouth is located on this island. That's why I wanted you to color the water so that you could find Portsmouth. And it is located on the eastern, well, you know what? I'm looking at it backwards. Okay. It's located on the eastern side of the island, right about here. There's Providence. Here's Portsmouth. I'm going to go ahead and mark that on my map. And again, it's spelled Portsmouth. All right. See it right here? Now, the Providence River is the other thing that we're going to mark. The Providence River goes right by Providence. So it's this river right up here. We're going to go ahead and mark that as well. And I am going to mark mine with the line that sticks out because I can't really write in that river. Providence River. Okay, this is what your finished map should look like with the key at the bottom. Go ahead and finish that. And then you can cut it out and glue it into your interactive notebook. And that's all I got for you today. In fact, that's all I got for you this entire week. I will be back on Monday and we will move on in. No, not Monday. Monday and Tuesday, we have map testing. We'll be back on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday for more exciting information about the 13 colonies. You guys have a great weekend. Bye.